Good evening. This is the Board of Water Commissioners meeting for December 19th, 2013. Here in attendance of the board, Mr. Dalzell, Mr. Ricker, and Mr. Cooney. We have Carmine, and tonight we have our primary operator to give us an update on the status of things that happened in the last week or so. The first order of business is to approve the minutes of December 3rd, 2013. Did you gentlemen look at that? You all ready, Stu?
I'm ready.
Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I do. I'll make it. Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The minutes for the executive session, December 10th, is not ready yet, so we'll put that off to the next meeting. New business. All right, so we have got to review the interim superintendent selection, and I've made several calls, and I think that I asked Mr. Griffin to come in tonight. I believe that he's probably the most qualified. A lot of the people I called were not available. It's such short notice, so we're kind of, we're trying to get this under control here for the interim, so we can have more breathing room to proceed on getting a full-time superintendent. So what I'd like to do is introduce Mr. Mark Griffin. Have you met Stuart Dalzell?
We met briefly, yes.
And this is Roy Ricker.
That's right.
That's Carmine.
Nice to meet you.
And then this is Glenn Smith.
Hello, Glenn.
Hi.
Hi.
And he's our primary operator at this time. Carmine is the runs the office right now. So I'd like to start this. If you could just kind of bring us up to speed on what you've been doing over the last, say, 20 years, and tell us, if you're available for an interim position here.
Okay. So. I just finished a job today that I was committed to teaching for a semester, and so I'm free as of now. I just finished this afternoon. I started as an operator doing industrial wastewater and drinking water and wastewater in about 1988. It wasn't until about 1993 that I decided to get all my drinking water licenses and commit to a career of that path. So I'm committed to sustainable use of water and energy. And the two components that we're most interested here today are what have I done as an operator and what have I done as a manager, including supervisory and economic financial budget management. In terms of the latter, financial budget management, I've been doing that since I got out of school. I mean, my first, in industry, I think I had my first $1 million budget when I was, probably 1978 or something like that. So large amounts of money don't bother me, but I'd like to be accurate with what, regardless of the amount. My master's degree also has a lot of micro and macroeconomics, environmental management and agricultural development. So taking care of budgets on a theoretical basis, I had training in education in, but practically speaking is often different. In addition to industry, doing budgeting, creating budgets and taking care of projects. For water systems, my most recent, I spent 8 years at the City of Lawrence as the primary operator there. To be accurate, 3 years of that, the 8 years, was as a oversight consultant. Lawrence was under a consent order at the time, and I was hired on a part-time basis as a requirement of the consent order. to come in and review the operations as necessary on site. And the City of Lawrence hired me directly as a primary operator when the existing primary operator retired. During that time, we oversaw going from an old plant to a new plant, very much like what Riley's doing now. I'm familiar with the issues of operators who are used to one type of system and then moving to another, and how to do capacity development. One of my jobs in recent years for water was I was an instructor and grants coordinator for New England Water Works. So I did training of operators. I created courses and set up to train operators both at New England Water Works and also doing outreach. I would travel to towns, particularly small water systems, grade 1 and 2 systems, and I would go out to the students as opposed to making them come to us, and that was through an EPA grant. I'm putting the cart before the horse, but I started out as an operator in the town of Sturbridge, which is very much like here, like in Raleigh. It's wells, and around 10,000 people, several tanks, a couple of booster pumps. So technically, I did water there, but I also did the wastewater treatment plant there as well. And as you know, Lawrence is a much bigger system. It's a T4, which is significantly different, not just in size. It's not a question of magnitude. The type of system in Rowley should not be underestimated because it's much more interactive with the community. It has to be. And in Lawrence, even though we're dealing with bigger numbers, and it's a grade 4 plant, you take water from the river, and the quality of the river changes a lot. But it's very different than going to wells. And you consider we do not have to, in Lawrence, a grade 4 system that pulls from surface water. There's not much interaction with the city, with the community. In a water treatment plant like here, people live on the zones that you have to control where contamination could go into your wells. So you have to be on cooperative and friendly terms with the neighbors who live in those water area zones. So there's more outreach. So I'm just comparing the two. So technically, I could do the small plants, I could do the big plants. I know there's a big difference between how you approach the smaller plants. The smaller plants are often a bigger job because it's more of a chance of contamination. So as a manager, I was a supervisor and manager for different jobs. In Sturbridge, I was not a supervisor, I was an operator. I worked for U.S. Filter from the same company in Sturbridge to, from there I became a field service engineer. So with that, I was in a supervisory capacity, at least a directive capacity, because I had to travel to different places and oversee construction of new treatment plants or repair of old ones. So I get to see a lot of different plants and get some experience. And that was in the late 90s or so. And of course, for the city of Lawrence, there were lots of budgets. You know, the annual budget you have to make. You have to watch spending on a regular basis, so on and so forth. Good or bad, I've got experience with consent orders as well. So I've got, we had a lot of issues to take care of. There were a lot of, it was complex. There were a lot of players involved. So it was a challenge just to keep everybody up to date in an agreement. And I have experience with the Northeast region of Mass DEP and how best to comply with an attempt to complete and remove a consent order. They should not be taken lightly. that answers your question, I think. There's more, but my resume is too long. I'm old.
Yeah, no, I'm very appreciative of you coming in tonight. I understand you worked in China for let's say the last 6 months.
Actually, the last 4 years.
So
This
back and
last
forth, yeah.
this last semester I was home, but I came back in July.
Very interesting. So this treatment plant and the operation and the problems are gonna hit us with opening up a new treatment plant, all those things would not be something that you would be fearful of.
No.
Okay. Because you've been through that pretty much before.
I'll guess a more complex plant, but that's not to say that every plant isn't unique. And more often, if the technology is proven, more often it's just a question of getting everyone familiar with the equipment and comfortable with running the equipment. And also knowing how to run it manually if all the controls are messed up. But also, the operator is your greatest asset. They will know, well, the goal is if you can look at a SCADA system and everything looks all right, you've got to be able to look at the process as the proof of the pudding to confirm that it's all right. We like to think that the computer screen is right all the time, but you have to confirm that.
Have you seen the plans of this?
Only what's on your website. I've seen the early photos of the foundation and rebar and things like that. And Glenn, what's the type of process? Is it like a foam?
It's a Paul membrane filter system.
Okay. So.
John Sikora is coming in from Weston Sampson Engineers. They're the ones that are building the plant. Like I said, it's a Paul membrane filter system. It's got pre-aeration, chemical oxidation for manganese and iron removal. They've got a fair-sized pre-treatment clear well, and they have a 380,000 gallon clear well. So looking at the plant as a 1.5 MGD membrane filter plant with 1/3 gallons of clear well storage, I think we've got a pretty good plant going in. I've been in a few plants that have had some issues, and I've been in one plant that was disaster from the get-go. And you fought with it all the time. This one seems to have some safeguards built into it that I think it ought to be a decent plant to run.
What is your daily use of 1 MGD?
Our winter use is about 300,000.
Okay, so it's low. I mean, it's not. It is what it
Our
is.
summer use is $1 million.
Sturbridge, the plant I talked about, they were about 1 MGD, so a little larger of this type of plant. Lawrence is a different animal. That was like, I think it was like 6 or 7 MGD on a regular basis, but the plant was designed for 12.
Yeah.
Effectively ran at least 8 or 10, something like that, but we never ran it that fast. But again, they're two different animals, and you can't approach one like the other.
Lawrence was a mixed media filter, wasn't it?
It's mixed media filter, but it's an upflow clarifier,
Yeah.
which is tricky to run. But it's used a lot for plants out in the Midwest that remove hardness from water. But it was applied here.
Hardness and heavier unit load.
It was here, yeah, exactly. It was used here to treat relatively clean water to make it clean enough to meet the new EPA standards. Yeah. So no, that doesn't bother me, to answer your question. And again, you've got to approach it with a degree of humility. You can't walk in like, oh, I know what's something. You can't do that. You've got to go in with that.
Yeah, you'll have your hands full for at least a couple of weeks. Get familiar with everything.
It's budget time.
Yeah, and budget time coming up. Stu, did you have any questions?
No? If there are no more questions, I'd like to ask you to call for motion.
Well, I wanted to bring up, how about you, Roy? Did you have anything to add to this?
No, the only thing is I'm asking is, what would you think on 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, what do you?
On the interim,
In the interim,
we're not sure how many days.
I mean, when are we gonna post for it? I think that's the only thing I have.
well, I think we gotta get Mr. Griffin in here and maybe...
I realize that, but we also gotta make a decision
Yeah,
before we hire anybody, how long we're gonna do it for.
We don't
Three or 4
know.
months,
well, I'd like to start off with 60 days. Okay.
If I may,
yeah.
I think it might actually be a regulation that when, I have to check, but it might be 1 month, 2 days, 2 months, something like that. But when an interim is good for a certain amount of time, particularly since you're in a consent order already, we definitely want to stay in line with whatever it is, so it's worth looking at. You can only go so long before you have to advertise and go through the whole hiring process. And I would recommend that it be sooner than later. I'm willing to do whatever you need, so if it goes later, it's not a problem. But I think the town will be better off the sooner as it, I mean, it's tough to do it now during the holidays, but I mean, to commence, you could even advertise now on AWW, on the New England Waterworks site, and I'm sure you'd get a lot of people applying. But all that takes time. I think the advertising is almost a month. It's probably, from the time you advertise, first you have to get a spec together, specification advertisement. Then you have to advertise, and that's usually about 4 weeks. And I think it has to go to a register, but that might just be for contracts, I'm not sure. And then you've got to go through the interview process and hiring. All in all, it could be, maybe 60 days is going to work, actually.
Yeah, I think that given the procedures we have to follow to make it a permanent position, or advertise a permanent position, it's going to take some time. Also, we've got to figure out as a board, are we inclined to, go, with more advertising and things of that nature to try to get more qualified candidates. But I don't know if we can talk to your qualifications.
I think Glenn will confirm that the place to go is the New England Waterworks website. That if everybody goes to that to look, and if anybody that's currently active, that and/or the American Waterworks for a national reach. If someone's willing to relocate here, you'll get the top people just with AWWA and New England Waterworks.
Okay. All right.
And they're relatively cheap to advertise. It's like $50, $60 or $80 or something.
I know I just gave you the job description, but it's nothing too complicated, I believe. I think that's mostly what we need is, a leader here, the management and leadership for the department at this point to, bring us forward. The pay right now is it's going to be $35.10 an hour. I know that's kind of low, but the other thing is that since it's an interim position, there are no benefits at this time. So hopefully we can modify this in the next month to see if we can tailor your needs. So I'd like to get you on immediately. Is that something that you could handle, to come in immediately?
Tomorrow morning.
Okay, that's great.
Let me give you one reference from the city of Lawrence.
I'm writing this letter to support of Mr. Mark Griffin, who I believe would be an asset to your organization. In the years that I have known this individual, both personally and professionally, he has demonstrated a strong sense of dedication to any job that he pursues. His credentials, integrity, and passion for the work he oversaw in the building of the City of Lawrence water treatment facility went far beyond the normal workday. Mr. Griffin helped ensure completion and changeover from the old facility to a new plant in operation today. I would highly recommend this individual for employment for your organization. It's called Frank McCann, the Director of Public Works for the City of Lawrence. That's a wonderful recommendation.
If I'd known you were going to read it, maybe I wouldn't have given it to you.
Well, we're public here.
Okay.
Totally transparent. Right now, the pay would be $35.10 an hour. You can start immediately. Monday, if you chose to, if the board decides tonight to bring you on an interim basis, you would have to go to the town hall, I think on Monday, and get indoctrinated into the Raleigh system.
Okay.
So with that in mind, I would like a motion to appoint him.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to hire Mr. Griffin on an interim basis, part-time to start on Monday. We make what you said to Mr. Griffin is $35.10 an hour, and then maybe we can do something where he's not getting any benefits. But right here now, we cannot promise you, Mr. Griffin. We'll do what we can, but we can't promise that. We have to go.
We won't be
Town
meeting
hall.
next week because it's going to be Christmas Eve next week. So, anyways, that's the motion. Do I have a second?
Yeah, well, for the 60 days until we decide we can.
So it's going to be a 60-day assignment. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
Really appreciate it. Do you have any other things you want to add?
I'd just like to say at the end of 60 days, if we haven't come to an agreement, we could keep Mr. Griffin.
Right, but I mean, we're gonna have a meeting between now and 60 days to decide what we're gonna do.
I understand that.
Okay, so we can either extend it out or just advertise the position or whatever.
Is that all right with you, Mark, to start on Monday?
That's fine.
Well, start tomorrow.
Oh, you want to start tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
One,
The motion's on Monday. Sorry. pardon me.
Yeah, the motion was Monday.
For Monday?
You want to visit tomorrow?
It doesn't matter, whatever you want.
Well, Monday is the indoctrination, so you can work tomorrow, but, what's wrong with working tomorrow?
He won't be indoctrinated.
just to keep things
Yeah,
even.
I think the
Okay.
first visit I should make is to City Hall,
Okay.
Town Hall.
You might be able to do this indoctrination tomorrow morning. They close at noontime,
Oh, I see.
so.
Yeah,
If the
before
administrator
Christmas
gets-
week.
Well, we'll check with the administrator tomorrow morning, first thing, and see if that's possible. So how fast could you get up here on them?
They open at 8?
She won't be in until 9.
Well, that could be all right. Get the paperwork out of the way.
Okay.
Yeah, but,
You always take a ride and take a look at the new plant.
in all fairness to Mark, we should check with the administrator first to see if she'll be in tomorrow.
Okay.
You don't want him to drive way down here for nothing.
Yeah, so do you want to call me? I'll call her at about 9 tomorrow, and let's try to. Okay.
Why don't we do this? Mark starts on Monday, then this, these things can be taken care of on Monday.
Okay, all
That
right,
makes sense.
okay,
If you're on the clock.
all right, sounds good.
Is that all right, Mark?
That's fine, thank you.
Once again, I'd like to thank you for coming in, and I appreciate your help on us, with us in our time of need here.
Where do you live, Mark?
I live in the Worcester area, currently staying at my dad's house in Oxford. So it takes probably about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half to get here, depending on traffic. So,
Okay,
for the interim, it's not so bad.
all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here's a phone from the superintendent.
Okay.
Just
We'll
returned
do
today,
that Monday.
and he got his phone. Check his personal address.
Okay, so he's no longer, he's got everything that's going on now.
I'll have to get a phone from Mark.
Okay,
Mark, have a good evening.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you very much, Mark. Okay, the next thing here,
You didn't do anything to deactivate that, did you, Stu?
no,
That's still active?
I want to find out.
John, you said he
We'll go down here.
Oh.
I haven't touched
Next business is status of operation of primary water. Why don't we try to get rid of the lien thing? In the interest of time. We need to go through the liens. We have to put where's that lien stuff? Right here.
One of the folders.
Purchase
I
orders.
think it was in front of you, I think, actually, there's two folders.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have, all right, so we have, how many do we have here, Carmen?
Should be about 10 liens, I believe.
So 10 liens, and we do this every year, these bills that are delinquent. You've contacted these people, see if you can get them on payment plans, the best you could?
The best we could.
Yeah, okay. So you want to take a look at this?
Some of the same ones from last year.
Yeah, unfortunately, people are having trouble to pay bills. Same people.
Hi, John.
Yes.
Hi, John, come on in. How's everyone?
What's the check mark, but we contacted.
Be careful of that one chair, John, that's typical.
Which one, mine? I'm not sure.
Last year. Same problem, that one. Surprised.
Okay, so there's approximately 10, and tonight we have got to vote whether to place the liens on it and pass it forward downtown. And from here it goes downtown, and they need it right away so they can put the liens on the tax bill, and I think it comes out in January, so they gotta do that, so. Do I have a motion, we accept placing these liens?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
I
So,
believe you're the one that signs them.
yeah, nice, so. And then you notarize them?
Yeah, I said that.
So I gotta sign all these?
Yeah.
All right, remind me to do that at the end of the meeting, okay? Just keep it there, just remind me.
Sure.
All right. Next order of business, if you don't mind, Glenn, I asked Mr. Sikora to come in tonight because we're still dealing with some old business. Rather than hold him up, since he's on the clock, let's get him to tell us about the latest problem we have down there. Thanks, John.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Sure.
We made a mistake on Mr. Griffin. We never set the hours. I understand it was to be 20.
Well, we can modify that. So, 20 hours a week. So. Anyways,
Okay, what I brought tonight was a few change proposals that we're going to need the water department to look at and approve. You may or may not know, you most likely do, we're getting ready to get the plan online at the end of February, beginning of March. So some of these items are crucial at this time. That's why we need to expedite them, just so it doesn't stall that process. We're kind of getting back on the original schedule, so things are progressing. So I just wanted to bring this stuff. The first one is some gas piping. This gas piping is for the makeup air unit, which brings in fresh air to the treatment plant.
Thank you.
Just grab my copy.
This item, the original bid did not include gas piping to the makeup air unit. There was a gas line into the building that picks up some of the gas-fired unit heaters. So this was a NRFI and a change proposal.
There was originally no heat
There is
proposed for this heat exchanger?
this, correct, it's really for air, correct, and heat. So again, in the original bid, the town did not pay for that. Unfortunately, as part of that, this needs to be upgraded from a 2-inch service to a 3-inch service, so you'll see some of that in the back up here. I believe the plumber did a good job of noting what the additional costs were. He credited out what he owned originally, and the change for this item is with the markup for the general contractor bonds and such. The total amount is $4,659. And Weston and Sampson has reviewed this and believes this is a good change for the price.
okay, did Mr. Hargraves go this?
Mr. Hargraves he's been CC'd on all these, and we've been in touch on all the change orders.
Yeah, I think he mentioned briefly to me that he went along, he thought this was a good idea. So. Does the board have any questions?
You run this by me again, please, John.
Sure.
Originally, there wasn't in the drawings, in the plans, to be
Correct.
heat in this.
Gas to the makeup air unit. With that, an additional gas line had to be brought to the makeup air unit, which is in the attic. But because of that additional line that now needs to go there from basically where it branches off to the two heaters that serve, say, the process area and other parts of the building, they had to upsize the gas service.
So the makeup air wasn't being heated?
Correct. There was no gas shown on the drawings to the makeup air unit, and it runs off of gas.
Okay, so it's an essential.
So the contractor had emailed today to get an answer on this as soon as possible, because it's holding up the plumber and his work.
This won't have
Mark,
any effect
November
on the
8th.
incoming
You'll
gas
let us
line,
know.
will it?
It will not,
December.
which is all set. The makeup air unit was sized when I worked with the gas company to bring the service in, that's correct.
Okay, so,
Why did it take 5 or 6 weeks to let us know? It's marked November 8th. It's the same thing Weston Sampson's been doing from day one. All of a sudden, they want you to come in and rubber stamp something, and they've known about it for a month or two.
Roy, I think what happens is, so change order 6 went out a few months ago, and it just took a while to get processed. So things kind of get bottled.
No, what I'm saying is November
I
8th.
understand that, and we reviewed it then. It didn't make it on change order 6, so change order 6 was still being processed and still isn't signed. So it was basically held, so everyone didn't get everything at
No,
once.
what I've been saying from day one on all of this.
Yeah,
They know about it for a month or two, and then all of a sudden they come rushing in here and they want us to rubber stamp it. We're gonna have to right now, we're gonna hold them up. And it ain't right.
how fast does this have to be processed now, John?
well, I got an email that said, by 4 PM today, or the contractor was gonna have to revise their price.
By 4 PM today?
Yes, but I did email them and let them know I was coming to meet the board.
So this is-
evening.
This is critical. Roy's got a good point,
And I agree, yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why it didn't come forward is because we had some delays due to the approval of the change order 6.
Correct.
Okay, so it's just kind of like, everything got on that paperwork, and this wasn't added to it, because change order 6 came out maybe end of October?
Correct.
Okay, so,
And what DEP likes to see is, they don't want to see one change order. They want to see 10
No, but what
10
I'm gonna
proposals
say
on
is,
one.
people know about it for 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you walk in here and say that it needed to be done 2 hours ago.
Well, I think this is a good idea, is maybe to bring these items individually and get the board to approve them, rather than the big change order. And I know we talked about that months ago.
yeah.
That's probably the way to do it, is when they come in, we discuss it, and then get them approved that way. And then when the change order comes with, let's say, the 6 to 10 items, then it's very easy.
We already
We can
know
say
about it.
we've
Well,
already approved these.
The other thing, Roy, too, you gotta realize too, is that we have Hargraves riding shotgun on this project.
Yeah, but I mean, he never said nothing to me.
Well, we've
Did
been,
anything to you?
he said something about this to me a couple of weeks ago, but he,
We should have known about it, the 3 of us.
Yeah, but, he's been kind of, we've been putting him on low duty because we have a budget
No,
problem.
I realize that, but you should pass that on to the other two board members, what's going on.
Yeah, so,
I have to agree with, Roy, November 8th. This letter was typed. And I hear about it on this day, the 18th, 19th.
well, was this
So
brought up,
December.
was this brought up at the contractor meeting there? The monthly meeting?
Yeah, so the every month we talk about the change proposal log. We have a change order log, and when an item comes in, it goes on that log. So yes, this has been on there. This was on there from the last month, which was the November meeting, which I believe was around the 23rd.
Okay, so my fellow board members want to have more notification. I do too.
I do,
So,
yeah.
what we could do is go to these construction meetings, or, well, we wouldn't, one of us could go, but not two of us. So one of us could get into the meetings so we could pass it on to the others. Is that something that one of you guys would like to do, so we get more lead time on this? You're pretty much on the road all the time anyway, so it'll be either me or Stu. Maybe we could make a presence there so we get more of a lead time on this. There's a meeting next Tuesday, isn't it?
The meeting is on Monday.
On Monday this week? Okay.
Then we have time, if we know about it sooner, then we have time to think it over.
Right, so, I think we've got to spend some more time, maybe get more involved in some of these board, or these progress construction meetings. Because Glenn, I mean, you went to did you go to the last meeting?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so, Glenn's hearing that too, that, there was some, you heard there was something going on, right? With
Not
this
with the
issue?
exchanging,
No, you didn't, okay. So was there, talk?
we were talking about the roofing and the general change order and trying to get that done.
Okay.
And this may have been included in.
Could it have been
in
the
stuff that's-
previous construction meeting that you brought this up? or-
No, it's on the change order log. We go through each item real quick. I mean, we talk about so much, so there's several items on there, and it continues the log. We bring it to each meeting until it gets signed with the change order, and then,
And at that point, I wasn't in a position to be even thinking about bringing it on to you guys. Somebody else would have been.
Okay, so it
So we
starts,
can,
well, it starts
new
with a request for change or something. What do they call that?
it's a change proposal request.
Change proposal. So when did that come in?
This here, this
This is the change?
this is the change proposal.
Okay, so this is a change proposal request, and that
Yes.
came in on the 9th,
Correct.
or the 8th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, I think what we tried to do was, because change order 6 took a while, this got held up, and it's really the time between. And I think the way to go forward is even maybe email, when these come in, get everyone on board right away. I think it would make the process easier for when the actual change order with the several items on it is there, because everyone can say, well, we looked at this, we know, we've already approved this.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so, what would help is if one of the board members came into these construction meetings, that's number one. Number two, when did John Hargraves receive this letter? Of course, he's on light duty now too,
Yeah,
so.
I couldn't tell you
Okay,
exactly.
so, I guess the concern of the board is that we get more lead time on this, so, if you could help us out there,
Sure.
that'd be much appreciated.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Is there any other, things coming up, John?
I do have some more here.
What do you need now? Do you need to put this forward as?
I would like to
approval?
put that forward. I mean, we're recommending it.
Okay.
I'm hoping that the board could approve that tonight, and then we could let the contractor know, and
On
they
Monday,
could tell
so
their
he can see,
subcontractor.
he can be pretty much on board to get this thing going.
Right.
It's a time critical thing,
Mhm.
so, given that in mind, I think that, give it some more thought about how we can get these things forwarded to us
Sure.
more, in a more expeditious manner.
Mhm.
We have a new interim water superintendent. We hired him tonight.
Okay.
His name is Mark Griffin. I don't know if you had an opportunity to meet him. I wish we had introduced you to him, I'm sorry, John. But,
We'll do it Monday.
yeah, he'll be coming in, and of course, he'll be in for a Monday meeting, right? So, what time is the meeting on Monday?
8 AM.
So,
Try by for
yeah. Okay,
Busy first day for him.
yeah,
it.
you know, and then, so I'd like to entertain a motion to, you know, approve this tonight. It's not on a change order yet, but they need to get this thing going, to, you know, get the schedule, that is suited for us. So, do I have a motion for that? To approve this? Is there a discussion? We want to talk more about this?
I just feel this letter, it's November 8th, and I hear about it to December 19th. I'd like to hash this over in my head. We're spending $4,659 of ratepayers' money. I want to think about it.
Well, I'm gonna put a motion forward that we push this forward, because I think we need to, number one, make sure we get these things more timely over to us so we can look at it more. But I'm gonna have to go with you and Hargraves to say that this is time critical. Okay, so I wanna make a motion that we put that forward. Do I have a second?
I agree with Stewie.
Okay.
I wanna look it over.
So, you know, what, we don't have a motion, so where do we go from here, John?
We'll tell the contractor and we'll see what he says on it.
Okay.
You know, but, you know, there could be, you know, additional impacts, you know, if we don't.
Okay.
we don't approve it, but-
Well, can you make the Monday meeting, Stu? You know?
I'm not working. I think
Yeah.
I can. I'll go back to work in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. So either Stu will be here or I'll be here, and then, so we, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, if there's an impact on it, what's going to cause, what kind of an impact it will be to us as a group, or as a town.
I'm sorry, John, but that's just how I feel. Something I see right now, and I just have to think about it.
No, yeah, I've been saying this right along,
I know,
since we started this thing.
Roy's been saying this for a long time, so.
No, if that means if I have to come to these meetings to be more involved, I think that could be the thing, you know, with the issues with, you know, maybe, not having a superintendent right now or whatever, the communication back and forth, is, you know.
Yeah,
it's kind of,
you know, I think that if this superintendent, if he was at the meeting, he, or he had talked to you, was on top of that, or would probably, we have to make sure that he is gonna make it sure that you're timely with us. Because, you know, our first, our worker is really the superintendent, so. I'll be there on Monday's meeting, or if Stu is available. Priority, Stu will be there, but if he can't make it, I will. Okay?
Do you think at that time we may be able to have a decision then, or, I'm just wondering.
Well,
back to the
it'll only
contractor
be
to-
one guy, so it's gonna be putting it off for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
That's the problem, John.
yeah. Okay. The next item was was for the skate at the monopole. This one is, we're all aware that this was coming.
Thank you.
This one here was sent out on December 2nd. We requested more information from the contractor. That was received last Friday, I believe that was the 13th. That additional information is on the very last page, which is a breakdown of the instrumentation piece. This is for the work at the monopole. To remind you what the issue was there was the FCC closed the radio frequency that the job was tested on. So we had to find a different location in order to get an approved signal that was reliable to communicate to the well sites and to the treatment plant and the water tank. Change order is for $41,563. This change order includes some credit work over at the water tank where the existing radio antenna was to be mounted, and that savings is on that first sheet there of $9,000.
This was, we had voted at a previous meeting to do a test out there to see if this would work.
Correct.
And then this is for the final thing to get this onto that monopole
Correct.
and get all that equipment needs met. So with that, there is a change of 41,000.
That's correct.
Just because we went from having that device on the tower up on top of the hill
To the monopole.
to the monopole, it's gonna cost us an additional $41,000.
That's correct. So you're adding another site to the original scope. The water tank will still have the antenna that was proposed there, because the tank signal needs to get to the treatment plant and to the well stations. So that has to stay there. This is a new station, a repeater station, which will communicate to all of those. That adds a new SCADA panel, PLC, electrical. It adds site work, and the antenna, climbing the monopole, wiring, and all that.
Okay. So what was the original price for all the SCADA antenna work and can you break down the cost of, you said 4 locations, now there's 5?
That's correct. There's the treatment plant, there's well 2, there's well 3, the water tower, yes, and then now will be number 5.
Is there a system here?
There is now.
So that there was there an original cost, John, that said that you would put up 4 locations and now we have 5?
No, because the SCADA was included with all the SCADA at the plant, so it would be difficult to break that out.
Okay, so you couldn't break out the SCADA cost on the contract or what?
The SCADA cost on the contract, I'd have to pull the pay rack. Yeah, I mean, it includes all the stations, plus instrumentation, wiring, and
Okay.
it's pretty complex.
Excuse me, John,
Yes.
when did you need this?
Well, here's where this stands. This came in, obviously the weather outside is, we've already had snow, the ground is freezing. There seems to be maybe a break in the weather. What my intention was to do is, what the contractors asked is, if we can approve the 41,563 in order to break ground and get some of the work done. What I'd like to do is the 26,650, which is part of that, which is the instrumentation, really see if we can tone that down to save some money there. And that is what, that'll be done at the end. It's basically the box and the guts of the communications. And we'd like to see if we can maybe work that number down. But at least if we can get into the ground, we don't know what the weather will bring in February. So that's what my intention is here today.
And this all has to be done before the treatment plant goes online,
That's correct.
which is going on as soon as we knock 3 offline. And we have 3. It all has to be up and running.
So what I'd like to do is get the board to agree to a not to exceed price of the $41,563, and really gonna have Weston and Sampson, work on the town's behalf and lower this $26,650 as much as we can. And again, that allows the site guy to get in there, the electrical to get in there. Those prices there are,
I understand what you're saying, John, but I would just like to take this home and read it over the weekend.
Okay, is there any other ones, John?
I have a small one here.
Now, are these gonna be put on to a change order? All of
Yes,
those? Okay.
correct.
So this is more of, you're giving us information now about a change order that's about to happen, but you wanna
Correct.
see if we'll be in favor of this
Correct.
when the change order finally does come?
Right, because we're still waiting on change order 6 to be approved before change order 7 gets,
Didn't we approve change order 6 last time?
What was the one we approved last week?
That was change order 6. We already approved that.
okay.
Stu voted against it. So me and Roy put that forward, so,
I abstain from voting.
yeah. He abstained, so. I'm sorry, John, but I don't know what happens after that point. What's the process? You know?
So we will make the copies, we'll get everyone's signature on it and.
So nobody told
put it
you?
through.
Nobody told you?
No, I had gotten an idea through talking to you, but I wasn't sure if the selectmen had reviewed
The
anything.
selectmen want us to vote on it,
Okay,
and then we pass it to them for
Okay.
their information.
okay. So now we'll get the 6 copies and
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
So we got that passed, and so we need to maybe start getting the change order 7 together, I guess.
Well, and these are the items that are gonna be on that.
So this is like, you're giving us the heads up that change order
Correct.
7's coming our way, but these are the items on it?
Correct.
So we're getting the information, so to speak,
Yeah.
so we can, when we finally get that change order, we can proceed with it. But do they wanna know beforehand, before we get the change order, whether they're gonna be, favorable on it?
Correct, yeah, I mean, just because of the time it takes for the change order, again, if it winds up taking a month, we're already into, say, the end of January, and then, the treatment plant was supposed to be online shortly after that.
Yeah.
So, obviously now, time is of the essence, it's not, we're not back in, a year and a half ago, we just started where we had some time to work with. Our window
Okay,
is
so-
shortened.
How about this for an idea, as a dynamics here, is that you're bringing us the information tonight, we get a chance to review it.
Mhm.
And then when the change order comes before us, then maybe you and John Hargraves could come
Mhm.
to the meeting.
Yeah.
And then put the presentation together,
Mhm.
so that we can,
Excuse me, I have to leave.
okay. So, Stu Dalzell is gonna leave at 7:10. Thanks, Stu. I think that's probably a good idea, right? Just to You get the rest of them for Stu so he can review this
Sure.
with him, so he can take it with him?
Also, these ones here,
Thank you.
you know,
Not against you, John, we just have to read these over. We'll
Yes.
have to look over the rate.
Sure, of course, yeah.
like the original price.
Gentlemen, good night.
It says this door,
Nice, sir.
$600. But now we're going to change it to a bigger, better door. It doesn't show it. Mine is, you know, you have to go with $2,500 now, $6,500.
Okay, Roy's got a request, and I think he brought it up before. I don't know if it passed down to you through John Reza or not. But when we look at these things, we would like to know what the original cost was.
No, but take, just for example,
Like,
John,
well, for example, let me just finish for it. Like, for example, we're talking about the SCADA system, how, because we went from 4 locations to 5 locations. I mean, how are we, you know, of course, we hired John Hargraves to look at this and say if it's reasonable or not. And he's kind of gives us feedback through our superintendent, but we're not referred directly to the board at a meeting. So we're, you know, we want to, you know, get more on top of this. When they put it forward to us, and it has nothing to do with you, but then it kind of really does, because what we want to know is whether or not, what kind of a cost thing that was there originally.
like say for example, John, this door, we modified the HM door and ran. All right, originally, how much was that supposed to be, and now we're, you know, and the thing, and what I'm saying is show it that we're taking off what the door was, and we're changing to this now. You know what I'm saying?
This one here actually is a little different from that, and I know what you're thinking is, we returned the door, got another one. We actually took this door, they sliced the door in 2 sections, and took 8 inches off the top of the door and brought it down. So the money you see there is actually for the work to do that. But I do understand what you're saying, if you thought that was getting...
In other words, when we bid it out, we bid it, and
Right.
if something was gonna cost, say, $2,500,
Right,
and then you come in and say you want $4,000, it doesn't show that
sure,
we turn it into $2,500 one,
right.
so it's only 50, is
Right.
what I'm trying to say.
Well, the previous
Like they
change
had-
order, they had the copper pipe
The soffit,
for
the
the
beam and
gas
everything.
main went from 2 inch to 3 inch, and he credited off the 2 inch stuff.
But a lot of times it's not credited, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And they explain to us what's going on, is what I'm saying.
So maybe we could put a little more effort in that direction. When
Yeah,
you
it's
guys-
difficult, the job was bid as a lump sum job.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to get numbers from that. Also, like with the SCADA, it's not really gonna be apples to apples, because you have the well site where the roof is, say, 10 feet high or 20 feet high, and you're putting a small antenna on that. There's already electric there, there's already, you know, power, all those things. So adding a new site where there's no power is not apples to apples. So it's difficult to try to use that number as a basis for that.
Yeah, but on the other hand too, it does come forward that they'd spend the effort to make it added change to the cost from the original information, which was the plans or whatever. So, I mean, the guy that put the cost into Kinsman is you know, saying that, oh, he didn't really look at the details before to make accommodations for some of these things that typically are on a construction project. You know, they missed this, or this should be modified or whatever. So they're putting the effort in to make the cost more, but they're not really, you know, they're not really having us feel that they, you know, should have accommodated for those prices to begin with. So that's pretty much where all these guys got their questions are coming from. So we'd like to see them sharpening their pencils, of course, and that's what we're,
So is that you asking the contractor to submit his prices for, say, all the well sites individually? In order
Well,
to pass this change order through?
No, I'm looking at some more explanation. They figured that there were 4 locations, there's 5, but how do we, look at, and how do we feel comfortable with saying it costs $41,000 more? It's just another location. I mean, all the equipment was going in there. It's added equipment, so if you told us that, okay, because we had a 5th unit that we had to order up, the unit that goes up on the pole, and that costs $27,000, and it might give Roy or, Stu comfort in saying, okay, that sounds reasonable, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
And we had to add the repeater because the communication straight from the water tower didn't
yeah, we know that. Yeah,
more function.
right, so we knew that.
This is a necessary addition.
This is like, you're adding another television camera that costs $41,000.
Correct.
So it's to be a layman about it.
No, the thing I'm asking for, Fred, is more explanation, Let us know what's going on, just don't come in and say, here, sign this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, some of the avenues that we could pursue would be to attend some of these construction meetings when they bring it up.
I agree with that,
So,
100%.
and then that.
I mean, even if you go, things come up, bring it back to Stu and I to the next meeting and let us know what's going on, so at least we know something's coming.
Well, we've been, kind of handicapped a little bit with our budget, and we've had John Hargraves we've hired to do this, so usually we'll have, it might make sense, Roy, too, to bring in Hargraves to these meetings and then discuss these things that he's discussed, because he goes out to the site frequently, and he knows what's going on, he's got his fingers on the pulse, and he can just kind of
You
give
can
us a
explain
comfortable.
it so we know what's going on.
Right,
I'm
so,
saying.
it's not to say we don't trust you, John, but we just, we want to be really diligent about trying to save any kind of money we can. So that's where we're at, so we're, everybody's doing a job, and they're doing a good job. So we just want to have a comfort level with the people that we answer to, which is the public.
No, if you get some more there that we can look on.
So real quick, on that one I sent you there, just so I can tell you what it's for. So we had an issue with a beam, where the beam sat, the windows which were above the doors for the training room and the trusses. Basically, there was an elevation issue. So we had to take 8 inches out of the door frame, rather than get rid of the door and buy a new door. That is the cost for the change. That include the guy coming in, taking the door back to the shop, and taking the 8 inches out of it, re-welding it, finishing it off, priming it, and getting it back onto the site and in place.
Okay.
And this was the last of the items, which was an RFI sent out almost a year ago. I have the paperwork ready. So this price just...
The RFI went out when?
Close
to a year ago?
Yeah, almost in January. So we finally received, or the change proposal did, we received the price. Basically, this item here is for the pump chamber, for the septic tank, next to the treatment plant, some of the existing controls and disconnects were not shown on the electrical drawings. And this is the change proposal for that work.
Good. So when do you think that this change order will hit us?
I can, how many items do we have on this? 1, 2, start working on it next week.
Okay, so it'll probably hit us at the next meeting maybe, or what?
When is the next meeting?
I don't know. What do you think? Boy,
Well, I mean,
we got the Christmas and New Year's coming up on.
I mean, we go in, we just want to come in and take care of these, post a meeting. I don't have a problem, we just want to come in after Sue and I will look them all over and take care of it if you want. Think something in, you know? This is kind of screwed up 2 weeks.
You want to discuss this at your construction meeting and try to come up with a date you want us to address this? When you need it done?
Yeah, we can have a meeting, just have it, just to come in and go
No,
over
but he's
the-
gotta.
Yeah, if you could review
He's
these
gotta,
items.
he's gotta get the change order ready, so the formalization of it is gonna be, could be a couple of weeks from now.
I mean, it's basically, it's gonna include these items, so if we can, these items get approved, we could put it all in change order.
Okay, so normally what you do is you put the change order forward, and then we talk about it then. Now you're trying to maybe give us a little heads up on the stuff beforehand, and try to get it pre-approved before it goes on a change order?
That's correct.
Okay. You understand?
Which we talked
What I'm
about.
saying, if you want
months
to
ago.
propose a quick meeting on Friday night or something, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So we come in and just do this, not a long meeting or something, you know?
Okay.
Go over it, I mean, I have no problem with that.
Well, why don't we, it takes us at least 2 days to post a meeting, so why don't we discuss this on the construction meeting, which is Monday morning, and then we'll get more input too from our interim superintendent, okay? And then in the meantime, Stu and Roy and I will look at this paperwork and maybe have some questions for the meeting.
Great.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think that's as fast as we can mobilize at this point, Charlie. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thanks for coming in.
You around tomorrow or Cindy around tomorrow?
I am around.
Time for another tour.
Great. Okay, guys. I guess you
Thank you,
might-
thank you for coming in.
Yep.
Okay, so the next order of business is status, if you could briefly. What's going on now? We don't have our superintendent now, so it's things, it's fairly consistent with the way things are operating.
Yes.
Is there any major problems?
No, we're just trying to schedule now with the contractor to try to schedule our chemical shipments so that we don't overstock with lime or chlorine at this point for wells 3 and 5. The big issue this week with everybody has been snow removal. We're carrying on with keeping up with the chemicals and the pumping at the lift stations. All of our samples, all of our annual samples now have been completed. The regular monthlies are being done. We just took our last round of baseline samples for iron and manganese and corrosion control, which DEP wanted us to do prior to switching over to the plant, because the plant's going to be different chemically than the wells are currently. And there's a new EPA regulation coming down for manganese levels, so they're having every town do baseline manganese samples. So we took care of both of those things with one set of samples. Split for the month when we did our regular bacteria samples, we collect the other ones.
Okay.
Um,
Do we have any,
all of our operators have applied for their license renewals. This is, we've all paid for our own this time around, just because of some of the issues that we've had here. So now we're filing for reimbursement for our licenses, which were due based on the contract.
based on the union contract?
Based on the union contract. You'll also find that there's some other licenses in there that I had given to John. I have a grade 4 OIT. Peter has a grade 3 OIT. I also have a sewer license. But I had given them to John. I don't think that you're required to pay for those other than
Okay.
the grade 2s.
So we get
So there's 3 of
three
those there.
packages here? Okay.
Yep.
So that looks all right. Peter King's. You know,
Has anybody been planning on going up to, like the country club project, the one that are going on?
Yes.
To make sure everything is going the way it's supposed to?
Nobody's been up there since this afternoon.
No, I'm just asking if somebody's keeping an eye on it.
We were up there when they did the tie-in
Yep.
to the other loop. Rob was up there when they were doing the, finishing up that water main. He and I went up there when they did the pressure test and the chlorination of that last section. The one thing I do have to get that John would have been working on is to get the coliform sample. They haven't asked us to approve that final section yet, and I don't believe it's been turned on yet. But I know they did the pressure test. Rob was up there for that. We've also been down to the other one down at Village Green,
Was that
down
one
off
on
of
1A?
1A. Met with a contractor down there. We make sure before each unit is sold and occupancy permits are issued that all the curb stops are up to grade, and that we have all the correct meter numbers and such on them. So we've been at those also.
So Peter's got a lot of licenses here.
Peter's got 2 licenses plus an OIT, but he also had 2 classes, which is also part of the contract.
Okay.
That he paid for himself. My last class was through New England Water Works and paid directly through the town.
Okay.
That's why you know no reimbursement going for him.
Okay, so where does this go from here?
It'll go down to Karen
Okay.
Summers.
Karen
As far as
Summers.
I know. I don't know if we have to put it on a warrant for reimbursement, but we will find that out.
Okay, so what else we have? Bills for, I'm sorry, did I break your tempo there, Glenn?
Nope.
Did you want to say something? You had you had a break this
We
week.
had a water break yesterday.
Did you hear about that?
It was on Kittery Road, another one of the
Yeah.
tapping saddles for the AC pipe. Along in the era that they were put in, and I guess Long Hill and some on Weathersfield, in the early to mid 80s, the tapping saddles for the AC pipe, because you can't direct tap it, you have to put a clamp on it. The U-bolts for the clamps with our aggressive soils and our
Right.
aggressive groundwater, disintegrate and then they blow off. I actually have it out back if you want to see what one looks like when it's not there anymore. So it happened to blow off yesterday morning while we were trying to clear snow. We came in at 6 o'clock to clear snow,
I see the,
and by 7 we were getting calls for dirty water.
you know, the sheet that goes with all the,
Just with all the bills?
well,
Yeah, we
the
gotta
sheet that lists it all. Yeah,
So we took care of that yesterday. We called 4 contractors, or we called Ron at Highway. All of his trucks were out, of course, plowing snow or salting. We called Brocklebank, and all of his trucks were out. We called TW, all of their trucks were out. I forgot who the 4th one was. We called Pryburn, he said he'd be able to come up. He was time travel from Maine to Linfield to pick up a truck. He blew up his batteries in his truck. He made arrangements to borrow a truck. They blew the air cylinders and the brakes.
having a good day.
By midday, he had called to say that he wasn't going to be able to come up. We made 6 or 8 trips with our little dump truck to bring the spoils back here. By the afternoon, TW had their truck that had been broken down on the side of 133 repaired. They brought us out. We bought 10 yards of reclaimed fill to fill the hole because the clay and mud that came out of the hole was not suitable to fill it back in with.
We didn't have any left out here in the stock out.
We did, but it would have taken us 14 trips to get it there. So they delivered it to the site, and we replaced the saddle with an all stainless steel saddle
Okay.
and a new copper service to the curb stop.
There was
Then
one.
we did our stuff.
So, what's the status of the big truck? When are we gonna be able to use that?
The big truck started up this morning. We've had it on battery charger for 2 days. We drove it around the building. We parked it, we were checking the lights out, we've got a marker light that's out. We started it back up, we backed it in to get it inspected today. And now the starter solenoid won't kick in. So it won't start. Safety wise, it's okay. It needs, at the very least, it needs new air cans on the brakes.
Only $40 a piece.
We've talked with Busted Knuckle Garage in Ipswich.
Yeah, that's,
They came out and picked up, we took the 3/4 ton plow truck down there and had brakes all around. Done on that last Friday, and he was gonna try to get up here this week, but with the weather, I didn't expect him. He's gonna go through it, let us know what we need. It looks like we need at least a starter solenoid, battery, air cans for probably all 4 brakes, because it's been sitting out, it was sitting outside for so long. The clutch is iffy, but probably just needs to be worked.
yeah, that's a brand new clutch. You probably got 50 miles on it if that,
Yeah,
you know.
and it doesn't seem to be
Breakaway program.
the pressure plate itself, it seems to be more the clutch mechanism.
Well, I got it underneath there, and for John, you put a spring on it. We had Jerry with spray and everything.
Yeah,
That it's just, everything's rusted from sitting.
and it needs new fuel lines. The air lines are plastic, so they're probably all right. But before we put too much money into it, we talked, we want to see how much money we got to put into it to make it roadworthy, because we don't want it on the road and not be able to stop it or have something happen to it.
No, I mean, like the air cans, those are only $40 a piece for the, you know, and now it's time to put 2 of them on. You know what I mean? So there's no big issues, is what I'm saying. It's just Matter of,
So far,
size, not expensive, battery,
the body on it looks good. Awful lot of it fell off when we did get it started in Auburn, but,
Okay,
we'd like Al to look at the frame and
yeah,
all on it.
let's get an appraisal of it, okay?
Right.
So, and then, anything else on that?
On that note, we got all of the trucks inspected today. And, so they're
Good.
all road legal.
You get all the trucks inspected except the big truck, or do you get the big truck?
The big truck, it was just a safety inspection required on it. So he went through all the lights, the fire extinguisher, the chock blocks, the safety equipment, the red pan. We seem to have all the equipment in all of the trucks, so we're not in bad shape if we can get it to run.
Okay.
The tires on everything are decent. The plow truck.
we need some tires on 1 ton, don't we?
The 1 ton.
Do a 1 ton dump
The
truck.
half ton, the 3/4 ton, that's a 350. That's its biggest issue, is the 350 dually.
Right, that's the 1 ton, 350.
Okay,
But I mean, that one needs some tires.
it's going to need
Yeah.
tires, that's what I was gonna say, that's the one that's gonna need the tires the soonest. And, right now it's got street tires all the way around, I don't know. We wanna put
We're
some
on
more
Band-Aid
aggressive on
patrol right now, because we're not even sure what the budget is gonna cover, so.
Right.
Let's look at that, let's have this guy look at the budget too, if we can.
I-
This thing here, excuse me.
Yes.
There was one thing in there I didn't like, did we take that off or something? What was that? I
It
forget.
was Weston and Sampson non-detailed.
Oh, yeah, so John was gonna take care of that, did he take care of it?
I gave it to Sue Bailey,
Oh.
and I told her about it, what was going on, that's not,
Okay.
yeah, so.
All right. So I reviewed this, the only thing that popped up here again is this one here, isn't it?
Yeah, Sue Bailey mentioned it then.
So this is one that was on the warrant before, but was never paid, or?
It was never on a warrant, she says, apparently, it was just, she made a mistake,
Okay,
yeah,
so it's not on this warrant?
so. It is on that one, it should be, it should be listed on there.
I don't see it. I mean, I'm burnt out right now, so can you tell me Carol Susie's bill's on there?
No, it's not on this one.
Okay, so who puts this together?
This was put together by, I think it was Sue
This-
Bailey.
All right, well,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, then put this in the next folder. Is there another folder
Yeah, there
that's
is.
gonna come forward?
Yeah,
Okay,
and
put
the-
that, I'll approve that, so
Okay.
let's just get these things moved forward.
Sure.
Just keep,
I got a running folder going on there, so yeah.
you wanna look through these, Roy?
No, I already,
Okay.
did the spreadsheet.
You need to sign that. Anything else on the status?
There's some new purchase orders, just chemicals and such.
Okay.
No,
So that goes,
right now, we're
Carmen?
just trying to maintain,
keep that in order.
Yep.
Pass that uptown.
maintain everything together until we get to, changing over for the new treatment plant.
Okay.
We repair what needs to be repaired, but we don't wanna put anything extensive into well 3 or 5 because their chemical systems are going to be obsoleted.
This is all the consortium stuff too.
Yes. Astrochemical, Univar, and Harcross. He runs that one. And that one's broken knuckle for the plow truck, the doors.
What's the extra one from?
Did you look in there?
These guys are, they're gonna be,
Let me have that one.
let's put that,
No wonder you can check it.
we've been looking for that for a couple of weeks.
Number 93. I'll fill this one out for EJP because we're gonna have to buy repair vans. Replacement parts. But he hasn't sent me the prices on
Get
it
the
yet.
staple, will you? Cameron, please.
So better price than the last two, right,
That got front pads and rotors and rear pads. And while he had it down there, he did a lube oil and filter on it. I'm gonna stick this one back in our pile. I'll use it tomorrow.
Okay, anything else here?
No, I think that's it right now.
Okay, let's see.
That's the
That's the
licenses.
licenses.
That's gotta go downtown.
This is my stuff.
Weather's supposed to warm up. It's supposed to rain this weekend. All the snowbanks are gonna shrink down. We should be in good shape.
Okay. Building problem status, Carmen.
Yeah, it's, Mr. Chairman, it's an ongoing, fix, getting the glitches out of some of the, payments that are coming in, the online system, and not posting correctly, not reflecting discounts, and not crediting the residents with those discounts, so we're trying to figure that out.
We fixed some of the no reads on the building. So this time around, we should theoretically, with the two we changed day before yesterday, we should end up with nothing on the no read list unless it's a glitch in the radio. We got to change that one that I gave you today.
17,
The only other thing on the item here, I think is, we're gonna re-vote on it, is this light here. I don't even recall any kind of reason why we had the lights turned off, so let's just
As
make.
far as I'm concerned, those two lights, the little ones that are heading down, ain't doing no problem to nobody.
Okay. So
Yeah, I
let's
think the
just.
guy's just complaining about everything.
Okay, so we just make a motion, Roy, to keep the lights on at night in the interest of safety.
Yes, good, I mean, we have a pothole with it.
Yeah, I know. So let's
So
just
I make a motion that the lights stay.
I second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Carmen, you get that?
Has anybody talked to this guy to find out what light he's got a problem
I
with?
spoke to the landlord.
Do we know which light he's got an issue with?
Just in general, the lighting, the glow that comes from it.
All the lighting in general?
I mean, you can stand in the grass and those lights don't shine against you. So I mean, it's not those two that
Yeah.
are facing down.
Wait, I think we just had it, we
The address that
voted.
given is the house almost to the corner with the street light in front of it.
Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. So do we have a motion to wrap it up here?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second? I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
So Carmen, you could shut that off,
Thank you.
sign these